World Cup hero Handre Pollard will star at flyhalf for South Africa's highly anticipated Rugby Championship encounter against New Zealand at Eden Park in Auckland come Saturday. Pollard retains his place from the starting 15 against Australia, while Jesse Kriel retains the captaincy ahead of Siya Kolisi, who is back in the team. Now, Springbok coach Rugby Championship made 4 changes to the starting 15 that beat the Wallabies in the second test in Cape Town, with Eben Etzebeth moving from the bench to the run-on team. Kolisi starts at number 8, returning from his niggle injury, while Peter Steph de Dooy is back on flank. The other change is in the back line, where 100 test veteran Vili Leroux will start. Erasmus says Kolisi's inclusion was a last-minute decision, and at that stage, Kriel was already appointed as captain for the match. Both teams will be looking to get rid of unwanted records come Saturday. The Springboks last won at Eden Park back in 1937, while the All Blacks are on a 4-test losing streak against the world champions. Let's try and make sense of this, get you a sense of why it matters and whether or not, I suppose, the favor is, or rather the odds are in South Africa's favor. Bring in our senior sports producer, Thando Mxoli, who's with us here in studio. Thanks for popping by. I know when you come out, it's a big deal. So let's start there. We've been anticipating this announcement from the Springboks literally from the beginning of the week. The names are out. Is this the winning team?
This is probably the strongest available team we could pick. Proven winners, guys who have performed on the biggest of stages. This is a team that has served Coach Erasmus rather well in his 2 tenures as Springbok coach. So, yeah, I think there aren't many surprises. Other than that, I think it's a good team.
There's also a lot said about the venue itself. I think it's known as the home of New Zealand rugby. There's been fierce competition that's been taking place there. And of course, we're hoping to really shake off what is an unfavorable legacy insofar as the Springboks' performance there. Yeah,
like you said earlier in that PVO you just read, the Springbok team has not won there since 1937. No team has won at Eden Park since 1994, when Phillips and Andre took a French team there. So again, it's what people call a fortress. That's what they mean. They don't lose many at Eden Park, and many have tried. Many good teams have gone there and have come short. Also, it's Ardie Savea, one of the great servants of New Zealand rugby. It's his 100th test, so there's a lot of emotion going into this one. People talk about this being the biggest game since the Rugby World Cup final.
Right.
It's got all the elements of that. All the guys who played in that final, who are still playing rugby at the highest level, will be involved in this weekend's match. It's revenge for the New Zealanders. We're sitting on a 4-0 streak against New Zealand. They're hoping to break that. We're hoping to break that other record that they've got of not losing at Eden Park since 1994. It's 31 years. Again, both teams have the capabilities, but for me, both teams are coming into this one with a bit of uncertainty. A lot of people have wondered if the Springboks are at their best at this moment. A lot of people said against Australia, who went into those 2 tests a bit undercooked. New Zealand, on the other hand, played well in the first test, and in the second test, there were a lot of questions that were raised about the team selections, how they played the game in front of them. So there's a lot to prove, especially even for a coach, Scott Robinson for New Zealand. There's a lot of pressure on him to perform, to pull off a big win against a top nation like South Africa. So again, it's tricky, right. It's tough, but I think rugby fans, get up early and watch some rugby, because this is going to be a close one. It's going to be It's almost as big as a World Cup final for all the rugby fans, because everything that will be on display is on that level.
Right. Very quickly, 30 seconds if you can. What implications does this match have for world rankings and other things like that?
World rankings don't matter for these 2 teams. I think it's more a case of pride. The Springbok team has ticked off every box available except this one. New Zealand are trying to regain their pride and become the powerhouse that we all know that they can be. So again, there's everything to play for in terms of pride, in terms of regaining your position in world rugby, in terms of beating the best, because you have to beat the best to call yourself the best. Again, it's one of those things whereby we all thrive on things like that, where when you want to measure yourself against the best, in the most trying of circumstances, and this has got all of those elements.
Yeah, one of the most expensive bragging rights in rugby up for grabs. Thando Mxoli, thanks very much indeed for popping in. And of course, we'll be watching the build-up to that match and bring you as much of that reporting once it gets underway on Saturday. Thando Mxoli, of course, our senior sports producer here at the SABC News Channel.